Thank you, Tom Vilsack. And this pretty amazing team standing here representing the Obama administration on behalf of all the efforts that are going on for the environment, for the Chesapeake, and for the wider effort that is being made to give us clean air, clean water. To Nancy Sutley, to Lisa Jackson, to Tom Vilsack, to Ann Castle, Monica Medina, thank you all for everything that you and your departments have done. I'm really happy to be here as the Department of Defense, Secretary Gates's representative to the Federal Leadership Committee for Chesapeake Bay. Ensuring that this bay is clean, that it continues to be a resource for all Americans, is a key commitment of the Department of Defense. The Chesapeake has always been of incredible significance to the American military and to the United States Navy in particular. It's on the shores of the Chesapeake at Yorktown that we earned the right to call ourselves a nation. It's on the bay in 1862 that Monitor met the Virginia and forever changed the nature of naval warfare. It's from the bay that countless thousands of servicemen and women have shipped off to a dozen conflicts in order to preserve freedom around the world. And it's on the bay today that we educate the future leaders of our Navy and Marine Corps at the United States Naval Academy. Every one of the services at DoD has a presence on the bay, from Norfolk, Quantico to Fort Story and Langley Air Force Base in the south to Aberdeen Proving Grounds in the north. And every one of the services has a responsibility to preserve the Chesapeake for those who come after us. In developing our strategy for the Chesapeake, Navy was given the lead for the Department of Defense on how to ensure that the military's presence on the bay is in accordance with strict environmental and clean water standards. Our efforts are focused on improved treatment of wastewater, reduction of nitrogen, phosphorus, and sediment and stormwater runoff, and preservation and stabilization of shoreline to reduce erosion. DoD and the Navy are committed to exceeding every target set to ensure clean water in the bay and preserve its resources. And our preservation efforts are dovetailed with our energy initiatives that are already underway. Because energy efficiency, particularly in an organization as big as defense, is also good environmental practice. Reducing the amount of energy consumed from fossil fuels reduces emissions that harm the bay. Across our 68 Department of Defense installations in the Chesapeake Bay Watershed, we are upgrading our wastewater treatment plants. We are implementing broader LEED construction standards in all our buildings in order to minimize runoff, and we're implementing low-impact development practices on other construction projects to further reduce stormwater flow. For example, parking lots, which are a large contributor to runoff and abound on military bases and everywhere else, I might point out, can be constructed or upgraded with pervious pavers that allow natural infiltration of rainwater back to the groundwater table rather than collecting and piping that runoff into the bay. We're buying more hybrids and neighborhood electric vehicles to help reduce nitrogen emissions that end up in the bay through air disposition. And at bases like Indian Head, Maryland, and the Joint Expeditionary Base at Little Creek, Fort Story, we are committed to continuing to stem erosion through shoreline preservation, to improving water quality, and to enhancing terrestrial and aquatic wildlife habitats. Working with partners in local and state government, the military is committed to preserving land around our bases as buffer zones, with the secondary benefit of forestalling development and preserving shoreline and natural habitat. Preserving the bay is not just a federal responsibility, as has been pointed out, and I cannot say enough about the leadership of the state governors in the Chesapeake watershed to make preservation of the bay an important issue in their states and implement measures and legislation to improve the quality of the Bay. I want to publicly thank them for their work and pledge the Department of Defense's support for their efforts as we go forward. On behalf of the Department of Defense and of Secretary Gates, thank you again for the opportunity to speak just a bit about DoD measures to preserve the Chesapeake. We look forward to maintaining course and working with the Federal Leadership Committee, the states, and local government to help keep and make the Chesapeake Bay clean, hospitable, and wonderful. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Assistant Secretary of the Interior for Water and Science, Ann Castle. Ann, throughout her career, has been a strong advocate for clean water and natural resources from Colorado, where she is from, through today. And Interior has such a critical part to play not only in the Chesapeake, but in all the efforts that are being made to help and protect our environment. I'm happy she could be with us today. Ann Castle.